I'm going to continue my series on how we can meet these needs for our communities without money. But before I go on, I actually wanted to talk about how these communities are always created, because I think a lot of people don't know where to start with creating community. So communities are always created at the microscopic level. You can't create any community if you do not create connections between individual humans. One of the reasons the American Civil Rights Movement worked is because they tapped the energy of the local church communities. They didn't get a bunch of people to sign a petition and then take national action. They just went to small communities, and then your friend who knows another person said, oh, this thing is happening, and would let you know about it. So when you're looking to create community, all you're looking to do is increase the number of human-to-human connections. And for our current moment, we really want to be focusing on local connectedness. Our internet communities provide us with a lot of emotional bonding and encouragement, but they don't do so well when you need to borrow sugar. And you're really going to want someone who is there for you when you need to borrow things or when you need physical items. When you're creating the connections with the humans in your local area, you do not need to seek to have a political conversation with them. You just need to create something where everybody gathers or everybody communicates or shares. Someone had a wonderful idea to go around their neighborhood and get a local business directory. So everyone just listing their small business so that we can patronize more of the businesses in our neighborhood. I created a garden share group in my neighborhood last year because I would see all these amazing things in people's yards and I really wanted them. And I wanted to garden with people, and I hoped that people would share their fruits and vegetables and seeds and all these things. And so I acquired lots of seeds from the neighbors, and then I sprouted the seeds hydroponically. I happen to have some hydroponic skills. And then it just so happened the local neighborhood decided to have a garden fair, and people were giving out flowers and stuff from their yards, and I gave out a bunch of plant starts. And people kind of started to know me as the plant girl. And then, because we already had a thriving Buy Nothing in our neighborhood, I started to post on the Buy Nothing and say, hey, what plants do people need? And then I started to say, hey, would anyone be willing to host free plants in their front yard so that more neighbors can find them? And I did all these things with the plants just because I really enjoyed giving things to people. And it was really fun for me. Look for ways to extend yourself for the well-being of your neighbors. Communicate to them through your actions that you value their presence, that you value their perspective, that you are interested in communing with them and sharing resources with them. And I'm not even a very social person, so I have a hard time with this because I'm like, okay, I want to be your friend, but please don't talk to me. I've always wanted to give my service, but I do not want to have small talk with people. And I feel like people in my community just got to know that I was kind of quirky like that. So it's really just creating networks between the local neighborhood. And it could just be a social media group that you all gather in and people can ask questions or report things that they're seeing. People can give things that they don't need anymore. The Buy Nothing wasn't expansive enough for us, so then we created a group called Being Neighborly. And people would ask for all kinds of recommendations for local businesses like contractors and stuff. All of this stuff is super sustainable and super fun, and it should always be done in a way that is emotionally comfortable and sustainable for you. Humans like to do this stuff. It's inherently rewarding. It doesn't need to be a process that is difficult to do. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could just be a bulletin board. There are also members of the community that are these connector people. They're the people that a lot of people feel accepted by, or that people tend to gather around. In our neighborhood, that was Al, and he had a bunch of sunflowers in his yard. And people would come from all around to take pictures with the sunflowers. All of this organizing is best done through attraction, not through needing to convince people of anything, but more of the spirit of, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to come along? Do you want to be a part of this? Are you interested in this? If it's not your thing, maybe next time. The heartfulness and the togetherness and the acceptingness of the community is usually reinforced by a common culture. So you always do your best to reinforce a culture of being welcoming, being accepting, being open-minded. And when someone within the group expresses closed-mindedness, or expresses animosity, or is dramatic or gossipy, the sort of positive culture and underpinning of the community communicates to that person, we don't really operate like that. We don't really do that to other people, and we don't value that kind of attitude, basically. And you're not going to be able to reinforce that culture in every community that you find. But the important thing here is that you usually don't have to expressly state, we are anti-racist, anti-capitalist, inclusive, etc. Because those values are reinforced as part of being a human. And if someone expresses something that is antithetical to that, the emotional response by the group is kind of like, whoa, 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 where's that coming from, man? And I think that that can be a valuable point of view, because a lot of the time we want to express those things up front, but we don't want to turn people off politically, because we exist in such a tribal political environment. And the way that you express inclusiveness and allow more inclusiveness is by behaving in ways that communicate that value to others. I value you. I do not make assumptions about who you are by how you look. I do not avoid you based on the demographics that I'm seeing, such as you're white, you're older, etc. And I would extend myself for your well-being because I value your humanity. If you extend those values to another person, usually they will return them to you. Not always, but it's always a best practice anyway, because these are the things that we value and believe, and we want to behave in line with our values. I got a little rambly on that, but the main idea is that you build community through human-to-human connections. So just have the attitude of building small-scale connections, and the large-scale connections will take care of themselves.